Hello guys, hope you're doing well as always and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reacting to my World Cup 2022 predictions and seeing how I did. I'm expecting some great shouts, I'm expecting some less great shouts, but without further ado, let's just get straight into it. And before we do, if you are new here, please make sure to subscribe, like the video and comment down below what you think of my predictions, what your predictions were and all around how you did. First up with Group A, we've got Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal and the Netherlands. I think this one's pretty straightforward in terms of who's going out. Starting with a team that I think is going to be first, I think it's going to be Netherlands. I think there's too much quality in that team for Senegal to properly compete, but I do think they're going to be second, Ecuador third and Qatar bottom. I don't think it's going to be a memorable tournament for the hosts. Ladies and gentlemen, we've only gone and got Group A spot on. Call me Nostradamus, because so far this has got off to a very, very strong start. Ecuador, by the way, within inches of qualifying. Enner Valencia, fantastic tournament for him and very, very unlucky. And to be fair, the less said about Qatar's performances, the better. Only scored one goal. It's very, very disappointing for them and lost all three games. The worst record a host nation has ever had at a World Cup. But let's see how we get on for Group B. Can we continue this fine run of form? Which moves us on to Group B. England, Iran, USA and Wales. And I've got to back England in this, to be fair. I think this is a group that we should be winning, so I'm going to stick us straight on the top for that. This brings us on to my second dark horse of the tournament, which is going to be the USA. Wales are going to be in third and Iran bottom. Okay, so again, I did pretty well with Group B's prediction. Not quite as accurate as Group A. I got the top two right, which is all that matters really when it comes to the knockout rounds. But Wales and Iran, I got the wrong way around, and that was obviously decided pretty much in the fixture between the two of them. It was a disappointing tournament for Wales. They didn't really seem to get off the ground. Iran, on the other hand, I think were actually very, very surprisingly good. They're one of the more sort of refreshing teams to watch. A team that you, well, in my case, thought were going to be bottom of the group, ended up finishing in third. So fair play to them. And England and the USA, pretty much par of the course. Group C, and straight away, I'm going to put Argentina on the top of this group. I can't really see Saudi Arabia challenging for second spot, which means that it is between Mexico and Poland for me in that second and third spot. But I am going to back Poland to finish in second place, which means that we're going to have Mexico in third, Saudi Arabia in fourth, and I think there's plenty of room for upset in Group C. Okay, I have actually come around at the end and I've saved it with that analysis because there was so much upset, so many twists, so many turns, and for me this is probably the group of the tournament. Saudi Arabia with that first win was absolutely fantastic. For me, that's going to be one of the most memorable matches of this World Cup, of any World Cup in my lifetime. Mexico were a little bit disappointing, to be fair, and Poland were the team that narrowly made it through on goal difference. But Argentina were the one that stole the headlines. So far, of all the groups that we've looked at, I've only got two teams the wrong way round, so this is not a bad start at all. I'm refreshingly surprised. Group D, we've got France, Australia, Denmark and Tunisia. I think this one's fairly straightforward. I think France are going to top the group, Denmark in second place. I think Australia will finish third in this group. I don't think that Tunisia are going to have much to bring to this World Cup, and I do think that France and Denmark are going to be the two to top this group. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was not ideal. France obviously topped the group very convincingly, but I think that the obvious and main talking point from Group D is Denmark finishing bottom of the group. I don't think anyone would have predicted that before the tournament. I got Australia and Tunisia the right way round, but obviously in the wrong positions in the table, so I kind of cut myself some slack there, but only one team in the right place for that group, which was France. Probably the easiest prediction of the lot, and credits for Australia, by the way, because they had a fantastic tournament. But yeah, it's all about Denmark for me, really. Disappointing World Cup campaign for them. In Group E, we've got Spain, Costa Rica, Germany and Japan. I think the top two again for this is pretty straightforward, and I do think actually it is going to be Spain that is going to top this group. I haven't been overly impressed with Germany over the last few years, but you know what it's like. You never underestimate the Germans. It's going to be very tricky for Costa Rica to get into the top two, but they've done well at previous World Cups. However, I do think they're just going to fall short in third place, meaning that Japan are going to bottom this group in my prediction. I couldn't have got that much more wrong if I tried. Japan to bottom the group, which were the team that obviously topped it in the end, and another one that is a contender for group of the tournament because it was so close. Only 3 points in it from fourth place to first, and there was a point where Costa Rica were going through. Costa Rica, by the way, one of the worst teams that I've seen at a World Cup, but Spain went through. I correctly predicted that, although in the wrong position. Germany missing out as well. I don't think that many people would have necessarily had the balls to predict that at the beginning of the tournament. I obviously mentioned that I haven't been impressed with them recently, and that unsurprisingly still stands today. But wow, Japan is all about them in this group. They were fantastic, and I'm so glad that they went through, because they were another sort of romantic story of this World Cup, and a team that I think everybody enjoyed watching. So credit to them, credit to Spain, and I think it's safe to say commiserations to my World Cup predictions as well. I got every single team wrong. Group F, we've got Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. I haven't been massively impressed with Belgium, so I don't think they're going to have a fantastic World Cup, but I do think that they will top this group. Croatia should finish second, Morocco are going to finish third, and Canada bottom. Okay, see, this was an interesting one because I've got two teams correctly in the right place and two wrong. Belgium to top the group. Obviously, I acknowledge the fact that they are not a good side, but I just didn't think that Morocco would have it in them to qualify, let alone top the group. Without a doubt, the biggest overachievers at this World Cup, and whilst I still stand by what I said in terms of the individual quality that they had, the way that they play as a team and play for each other was similar to Wales at Euro 2016. They're set up so well, and they are just one of those teams that play to win. Fantastic tournament for them as well, and Belgium just stunk the place out. Canada had more life than them, but obviously they finished bottom of the group, so that was right for me, but we're getting slightly better from the last two group predictions. Group G now, we've got Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. I'm going to put Brazil straight in first place. I think they're going to have a great tournament, and I think they're going to top this group with ease. I do think that Switzerland are going to be the team to finish second, Cameroon in third, and Serbia in fourth place. Unreal. Back with a bang. Every single team in the right place. And to be fair, when I was rewatching this, I did think that I'd have Serbia to be higher up, because I did really back them before this World Cup. When you look at their squad on paper, the likes of Mitrovic, Vlahovic, I know I butchered that. Cameroon did a lot better than I thought that they would, but obviously not that much better, because I've predicted the whole group right. Brazil were always going to top that group, and I think with the international history that Switzerland have when it comes to progressing through group stages, they were always really going to go through. So no real surprises in that group. But let's see if I can round it off in style with Group H. I think Portugal are going to top this group with ease, and second place for me is a toss-up between any of the three, really. A shock potentially. I think Ghana are going to finish second in that group, Uruguay third, and Korea fourth. Okay, so that wasn't so bad. Obviously, I acknowledge the fact that it's going to be a toss-up for second place between the other three teams, and at the end of the day, there was only 1 point and goal difference in it. So I was correct in that sense, but obviously my final predictions were not spot on at all. I correctly predicted Uruguay in third place, Portugal in first place as well, but South Korea and Ghana for me were the other way round. I would have loved it if Ghana went through, because they were just really fun to watch from the beginning of the World Cup and only narrowly missed out. A very exciting fixture between them and Uruguay as well, which was always going to be hotly contested, and to see Suarez cry at the end of the game as well. I don't usually like to see players cry, but a little bit of karma for the Ghanaians after what happened in 2010. But all in all, I think that was a solid prediction for the group stages. I'm actually really happy so far, so let's hope that I can carry this forward with the knockout stages. Moving into the knockout rounds now, we find ourselves first and foremost with the Netherlands versus USA. Okay, so this one is actually a real fixture, because I've just realized that there are going to be some that are not real fixtures because I got some of the teams wrong. But it's part of the fun of predicting, man. You never know what's going to happen. And I am going to go with America for this, for fuck's sake. Like I said at the beginning, they are one of my dark horses, and I can see them just knocking out the Netherlands. Yeah, I can't lie, they didn't really turn up in that fixture. Netherlands fully deserved to win, and Cody Gakpo, by the way, fantastic tournament that he's had. Same for Frankie de Jong as well. Both look fantastic and very important for the way that the Netherlands played this tournament. So I've got that one wrong, which is not ideal. Second round of 16, we've got Argentina versus Denmark. Another tricky fixture, but I think that Argentina are going to have too much for them. Good stuff. Argentina, obviously, in real life, actually beat Australia 2-1, and that game could have ended up very different with that late miss from the Australian teenager in the dying seconds of the game. And it's interesting because you look back at moments throughout the World Cup and you think that this is where we could have had a completely different outcome to the tournament as a whole, just based on one moment. That's why I love football so much. But Argentina went through. I correctly predicted that in a roundabout way. England versus Senegal in the next round of 16 game is another tricky fixture. Obviously, I've got to back the boys, and I do think from an unbiased perspective as well, I do think we've got enough quality to beat them. Come on, the boys. A 3-0 win, and that was a very entertaining watch, sort of from pretty much when the first goal went in. Nerves were sort of settled. We just took the game after that. Senegal put up a very good fight in the beginning, but as I say, once we got that first goal, we never really looked back, and it was a fairly comfortable win for us in the end. France versus Poland. I think France are going to go go through another real fixture and another real result. Obviously winning 3-1. France are very good in that game, and Poland, they don't look great. They've obviously got Lewandowski, but they don't really play to his strengths, where I think that they should just try and get the ball to him at every opportunity, let him do what he does best, and just offer players to come short and help him out. They didn't create enough chances, and France very deservedly took the win in that game. Spain versus Croatia is another tricky fixture, both very good teams, and I think that Spain are just going to edge that one. So in this game, the fixture was actually contested between Japan and Croatia, in which Croatia narrowly won on penalties. To be fair, when it went to penalties, it was hardly a competition because the Japanese penalties were not good enough, but it was Croatia that made it through. So another wrong prediction here. Brazil versus Ghana. I think Brazil should fairly comfortably win this game. Obviously in real life was Brazil versus South Korea, a comfortable win for Brazil, and in a roundabout way again, we've got the right team to go through the right bracket. So it's looking good so far. We've still got the finalists and the semi-finalists, I believe. Well, okay, apart from Morocco. Yeah, we haven't got Morocco, and I've just voted Croatia. It's all right. Belgium versus Germany. I'm going to go for Germany. Neither teams obviously made it through, so this is kind of a pointless fixture. That fixture in itself was actually Morocco versus Spain. Morocco obviously went through and just banged it. Like, I'm still in awe at their competition, man. They were so good. But yeah, that was a bit of a pointless fixture because I did get that wrong. Portugal versus Switzerland. Now, there is potential here for an upset, but I can only see Portugal going through. Switzerland, again, a very good team, but Portugal have got way too much quality in my opinion, which is interesting that I should say that because that was one of the highest scoring matches of the World Cup. 6-1 to Portugal, and obviously the hat-trick from Gonzalo Ramos coming in for Ronaldo, which caused a bit of debate before the game, but proved to be the right decision. And fair play, Portugal went through. Which brings us on to the quarterfinals. USA versus Argentina. I think Argentina have got that in the bag. Spain versus Brazil. That's going to be a very tricky game. I can see either side going through, but once again, I'm going to back Brazil. England versus France. Probably the trickiest fixture of this quarterfinal. We have looked terrible recently, and for that reason, I am going to back France, and I can so see Hugo Lloris upsetting Harry Kane. Oh man, I was going to wait for all of these to finish and then give my analysis, but I have to jump in there because Hugo Lloris ironically did end up upsetting Harry Kane from the penalty spot. Although Hugo Lloris didn't have much to do with it, the pressure got to Harry Kane, and the rest is history. We know what happened, but I'll save the rest of what I've got to say about these fixtures for the end of the round. Germany versus Portugal. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Portugal. Okay, so Germany here are sort of representing Morocco in a roundabout way, but it did end up being Morocco who made it to the semi-finals, and have just inspired a new generation of African and specifically Moroccan footballers as well, especially for the sort of so-called smaller nations, that you can do it with a bit of organisation and a good team spirit, that you can achieve what feels like the impossible. So once again, credit to them because they've absolutely smashed it this tournament. It was really difficult to pick France to beat England because obviously being an England fan, you never want to bet against your team, and I think the part of my indecision came from obviously the head versus the heart battle, but also because they are just so evenly matched. Obviously France narrowly made it through. I'm very proud of the England team, the way that we performed throughout the tournament and how well we performed, especially in that fixture. So unlucky to go out. And Brazil obviously lost to Croatia, so they didn't get through as well. So currently we're going to have two real teams in the semi-final and two sort of teams that didn't make it into the semi-final, which is a little bit confusing. And finally Argentina to beat the USA, although obviously in real life that was the Netherlands. What a game as well. One of the games of the tournament without a shadow of a doubt. The game looked like it was more or less over until that last minute free kick routine. Fantastic. Took it all the way to penalties, and Argentina narrowly made it through, and the rest is history for them. Argentina versus Brazil is outrageously difficult, but I am going to back Brazil. France versus Portugal in the second semi-final. I do think that France have got too much for Portugal to handle, which sets us up for a Brazil-France final. Okay, so honing in very quickly on these semi-finals before we get on to the final. Obviously, correctly predicted France to make it to the final. However, Brazil to beat Argentina. Obviously, in real life, that was against Croatia, which Argentina won comfortably. I can understand why I went for that because, to be fair, Brazil were my favourites before the tournament, which sort of spoils who I'm going to pick to win it. But I just didn't expect Brazil to go out as early as they did, and that would have been a very exciting semi-final. But I had Brazil versus France in my final, and let's see who I predicted to win it. And who is going to take home the World Cup? Is it going to be Brazil in South America, or is it going to be France in Europe? I think it's going to be Brazil. I'm backing Brazil to be my winners. There you have it. And there you have it. I did predict a South American versus French final. I picked the wrong South American team. And it's interesting, actually, looking at this screen that's come up here now. 23% of players predicted Brazil to win and 27% picked Argentina to win the World Cup, which was the most out of any other nation. And those 27% have absolutely smashed it because, as we know, Argentina won, and one of the best finals, probably the best final I've ever seen. Absolutely fantastic, thoroughly enjoyed, great entertainment, and it's nice to see Messi finally get the World Cup that he deserves. But before we end the video, I am going to have a look at my predictions for the individual player awards, the Young Player of the Year, Golden Boot, all that jazz, and see how well I did in that sense as well. So starting off with the Golden Glove, I am going to go with Alisson. I think he'll be the goalkeeper to start in between the sticks for Brazil this tournament. In terms of the Golden Glove, I've obviously predicted that horrifically wrong because Alisson didn't end up being a contender really in the end, and that award did go to Emi Martinez, whose celebration at the end was questionable for the circumstances, but very funny to watch anyway. And what a tournament he's had. But we'll move on to the Young Player of the tournament. Young Player of the tournament, I'm actually going to go for an English player. I'm going to go for Phil Foden. Yes, I can understand why I went for Phil Foden, because obviously he's been electric for Manchester City this season, but he didn't really get a load of game time, especially at the beginning of the tournament. And I think if you were to pick an English player in retrospect now, it probably, almost certainly in fact, would be Jude Bellingham. He was certainly a contender. Cody Gakpo was another one that I feel like could have been up there in contention, but that award did end up going to Enzo Fernandez, and credit to him as well. He's fantastic. Rumored to be moving to Liverpool as well, so that'll be a fantastic signing for them, and I'm scared to see how he does for them if that move does end up finalising. Player of the tournament, I'm going to go for Kylian Mbappe. I think he's going to have a very good tournament despite all of the negative press about him at the moment. Interesting. So obviously I went for the player of the tournament, or the golden ball, to be Kylian Mbappe. That award did end up going to Lionel Messi, and more often than not it does go to the most influential player from the team that won the World Cup, so I can totally understand that, and he had a fantastic World Cup as well, so it's thoroughly deserved from Messi. But as we all know, Kylian Mbappe had an incredible World Cup campaign, and that final performance as well, to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final and not win it, you don't see that every day, and I think he should feel very, very hard done by. But it is Lionel Messi, thoroughly deserved, so I did get that one wrong. And last but not least, the top goal scorer for the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar, in my opinion, is going to be Kylian Mbappe, hence why I've given him the player of the tournament. Well, there you go. I did correctly predict the Golden Boot winner, so at least I've got something there out of the individual player awards. And as I've just gushed about Kylian Mbappe, he is a fantastic player, and he's shown that on the highest stage of them all, so there's not much else to add other than congratulations and commiserations to Mbappe. Congratulations to Argentina and Lionel Messi. And that does bring us to the end of the video, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know how you did in your predictions. Let me know what you think of my predictions. Personally, I think I've actually done all right. I'm pleasantly surprised. But I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Peace and love.